Hello YouTube, I am making a video of my vintage and rare pointe shoes. Altogether I have 48 pairs of vintage and rare pointe shoes. This video is showing the first 24 pairs and the next video will show the other 24 pairs. I'll just go along the table and show you them all and then I'll describe them in some detail. Okay, right. We'll start at the beginning here. I'm starting with these ones because they're the most unusual. They are a bronzy brown colour, no mark or writing on them anywhere, but you can see they have steel toes attached to both pointe shoes. Now there used to be a fad in the 1920s and 1930s for something called toe tapping pointe dancing or something, and there are actually videos that you can see on YouTube, film of dancers at the time dancing on the tips of their toes in pointe shoes, but they're on the tips of their toes dancing, tap dancing, like doing a time step and the like, going up and down stairs and things. So these shoes may very well be from the 1920s or 1930s, from that era. I have no idea at all, but they're really unusual and I would never part with them at all because they're just great. The next pair I have are, well, you can read what it says, Master of the Bolshoi Theatre, Vinokur. Vinokur was one of about 20 or 30 makers of pointe shoes for the Bolshoi Theatre in Moscow, and I acquired these from a company in Bristol called Pavlov Ballet. And I don't know if they're still in existence or not, but Pavlov Ballet were a Russian-based ballet company in Bristol in England, and they imported all of their pointe shoes directly from this man called Vinokur, who was a master pointe shoe maker. Pavlov Ballet, Bristol, Vinokur pointe shoes, and you can see, as I said, Master of the Bolshoi Theatre, Vinokur. Nice to have, very tapered, typical Russian ballet shoes. The next ones, I bought these off a gentleman who has a Soviet and Russian based website in England and collects lots of Russian and Soviet memorabilia, and he bought these from somewhere in Russia when he was over there. Soviet pointe shoes. I don't know if it makes out just how tapered and small they are. No writing on apart from a wee symbol, no writing of any maker or anything, but they definitely look authentically Soviet or Russian in style. The next I have are Triunfo, which I believe is an Italian make. I bought them from an Italian website and I haven't come across them anywhere else before. They're brand new. The ones next to them look very old, and there is no maker on anywhere. I have tried my best to find a maker, but there isn't. What's unusual about them is that the ribbons start at the top and then go down, and there are lots of 2 layers of ribbons at the top as well, and apart from being incredibly tapered, there are fur inserts. It's real fur inside, which is, I don't know if that was commonplace a long time ago or not. The back of the pointe shoes, there is no mark or make anywhere that I could make out at all, so there's no way of distinguishing what make they are. Although the tops here, the toe caps that they have, the toe protectors, remind me very much of Capezio Giurato. They could well be a very early version of Capezio Giurato. I have no idea at all. But what I like about them is the fur inserts on both pointe shoes and the fact that they have these unusual ribbons in a strange place, which I haven't come across before. The following ones are Rusbul. Soviet era pointe shoes. It took me a long time to come across these. I was searching on the internet for a very long time and then I was lucky to have found 2 pairs, so I bought them. Rusbul, written in Russian or Cyrillic, it's the Russian language I think it's called, and handmade in Russia. Fantastic, nicely tapered, remind me a wee bit of Grishko. Something written inside in Russian, no idea what it says obviously, but I do like the fact that it's written Rusbul. Great. Next to them is another pair of Rose Bull, but they're slightly different, although the back looks the same and it says handmade in Russia the same. They're even more tapered than the first pair. You can see how extremely tapered they are. And what I like about these ones, inside there's a label that says Rose Bull and is written then in Russian. And that's on both pairs of on both of the shoes, the label. So that's nice to keep. Next we have a pair of Ben and Sally's. These are hard to come across, and I came across them on an American website, so I absolutely had to have them. Black patent, in quite good condition. Unusual that there's not ribbons like you have nowadays, but it's very thin string really, and it's very difficult to read, but if you are able to, I don't know if the camera is going to pick that up or not, it quite clearly says Ben and Sally, and it says that on both shoes. Worn out, but not too badly broken in or anything. I have to point out at this moment in time that I don't dance, and I certainly don't dance in any of these Pointe shoes. I haven't danced for many years. I just collect Pointe shoes. These ones are, I bought them off a lady who was a professional ballet dancer, and she was in a company in England, I don't know which company, and her freed Pointe shoe maker was a man called Ushing, who I think was Indian, and he was her favourite maker, and when he left free to set up his own business, she stayed with him basically and continued to have his Pointe shoes. And these are some leftover stock that she was selling. She said annoyingly he never put his name or his mark anywhere on the Pointe shoes, which is nowhere to be seen, but she absolutely categorically tells me that they are made by Ushing, so I have no reason to doubt her at all. The next Pointe shoes I bought from a French website, and I've been looking for them for a long time. They are very rare, very hard to come across, and nobody seems to know much about them. They are Crate, made in France. I know a lot of Pointe shoe collectors who would give their eye teeth for these because they are so rare and they are so hard to come across, and they haven't been made for a long time. Very slippery back. I don't know how on earth you'd stop yourself from sliding all over the stage on them at all. Crate, made in France. It says on both shoes. Absolute delight. I'll treasure them. Next to them is a tiny pair. Unusual, but what's great about them in identifying them is that the label is still inside. La Mendola of New York, or La Mendola of New York. Unusual company, not been in existence for a long time. I think they probably went out of business maybe in the 1960s or 1970s, I don't know. So it's a real find to get hold of those. Delighted. This pair here may very well be something similar, I don't know, but when I bought these, it's very difficult to identify who made them or where they were made. Absolutely no markings on them at all, but they're still nice to have. Ones next to them are not that unusual, but I thought I would add them because you don't see them that often. Cameo Pointe shoes, lovely, brand new, never worn, just wanted to add them to my collection. Next to the cameos are Baryshnikov canvas Pointe shoes. Obviously everybody knows who Mikhail Baryshnikov is, and he opened up his own business selling Pointe shoes, but it hasn't been in existence for a good few years now, so they are fairly hard to come across still, I think.